Hi, welcome everybody. Good afternoon to Coleman Report Live, May 13th edition. It's just Delaney and I, and Bob Coleman is on audio only. Lance is traveling. He's just getting back from Nagel. I think you've spoken with him, Delaney. And what he told me is that there's a new SOP 5057 coming out in the fourth quarter. That's the big news, but we've been hearing that for a while. The latest update is from 2015. So we look forward to seeing that and seeing what SBA produces. But Bob Coleman is on audio. Bob, can you hear us? Are you there?
I hear you. Sorry, I'm not there in video, but I'm. Trust me, I'm fighting the flu here, so don't worry.
Well,
does Lance say anything about what changes there would be?
No. The only thing is that SBA has been working on it. They have time. They're done with PPP and all the stuff, the last couple of years, but they really want to focus on servicing and those processes. So no specific updates as of yet, but I imagine we're going to hear some more information soon.
When the government talks fourth quarter, that's the fourth quarter government year, so that'll be before September 30th.
Yeah. So we'll get it by the end of the summer. So Bob Judge, Secondary Market information from Government Loan Solutions, provided us with the most recent secondary market prices, and we're seeing big drops in the numbers for a long time. They were up way, 119 25-year spreads, and now they're down 3%, back down to the 115 level. How does this affect? This is for Bob Coleman. How does this affect the SBA lenders?
Well, I certainly am a poor substitute for Bob Judge, but we are in a raising interest rate environment. But the caveat on that is rates can also go down. So the investors are a little nervous, and we all are reading what's happening in the stock market, investment market these days, and they're a little skittish. But the numbers are, for example, a 25-year loan is pushing prime, full boat 275. The price is now 115, and it was pushing 120 earlier. So that's a significant drop on that type of paper. The question I always ask Bob, and so I will rhetorical it, is what's going to happen in the future? And that is, I think if you're planning for 2023, the balance of 2022, I don't see too much of a move on these spreads. Again, while it has gone down, investors are still showing a tremendous appetite for this type of loan. The other thing I also want to say is it's perfectly legitimate to write a 7A loan at fixed rate and then sell that off, and you're only going to lose a couple of points. So if you're a 7A lender, you may want to consider doing some of those at fixed rate, and you will take a couple of points hit, but it's not overall the borrower gets a fixed rate loan and you get a transaction.
I've also included the 504 first mortgage rates that Ken Rosenthal from CDC Small Business Capital provides, and they're up close to a full percentage that we saw in the last 6 months. So
do me a favor. Let's get Ken Rosenthal on next week and let him explain that as well, because we haven't had him on for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was on in August of last year when I was at it.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah. So anyway, download the. I've included the spread, the prices that Bob provides us, and download those, and hopefully we can get Bob on and Ken as well. So let's move on to this fraud story. Delaney, let's bring you in. Another 79 PPP applications. I mean, just an amazing stat. Tell us what what these individuals did and the consequences that they're facing.
Well, first, I have a quick question for you two. Do the names James Stowe and Philip Augustin sound familiar at all? No?
No.
So we've actually, these names have been brought up, I believe, on more than one occasion on Fraud Friday, never directly about them, but they were running quite a fraud scheme. So them specifically, James Stowe submitted 79 applications for at least $35 million, and Augustin submitted 34 for at least $15 million. But beyond them applying for these fraudulent loans, of course, using falsified documents, fake payroll numbers, fake IRS forms, they were getting a lot of other people in on this fraud ring and getting some of the loan proceeds, so kickbacks. And they even brought up specifically his network of business contacts as a manager for professional football players to recruit loan applicants.
Again,
and as you can see, that really did not work out. James Stowe got 10 years, and Augustin got 6.5, along with some pretty hefty restitution forfeiture numbers.
Bob, this is for you. You've talked about celebrity worship throughout the years, and I think this falls into the case. An NFL agent or whatever, a personality in that world is doing all these PPP fraud. I mean, that's 79 applications is egregious. There's no doubt about it. But unbelievable.
Yeah, hey, Joseph, that's a celebrity loan is a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it doesn't talk about loan of celebrities, but hey, don't let their aura or their mystique influence you on the numbers. The numbers, especially NFL players, 80% go bankrupt within 5 years after retirement. You read a lot of things with Hollywood. There's a lot of crooks running around in Hollywood. In fact, my comment is what happens to those people who get turned down on a 7A loan? Well, they go become a producer in Hollywood.
Right.
So, it's a red flag. That's sort of what I would say. It just needs stop and assess. What do we got here? And don't drop your due diligence, because the numbers are horrific. The numbers are horrific on these agents who take advantage of these young kids, and the kids end up going bankrupt.
I probably should have freshened up on some of the previous fraud stories, but 25 different people have been prosecuted as a result of this scheme.
Wow.
So who knows, we might see more.
The acronyms are at play. We've talked about the regulators really working together, coming together, FDIC, SBA, OIG, FBI. take your pick at on the agencies that are working on these cases, but these convictions are.
I'm sorry, Joseph. They got significant prison time, 10 years. That's Kerry Agee only got half that. So
yeah,
there's 10 years is 10 years.
Let's move on to Aaron Ashcraft. What happened with Aaron?
So he also submitted quite a few fraudulent PPP loan applications, at least 7, applying for over 1.2 million. He obtained about $1 million. But in addition to that, he also participated in a few others. So he got about $800,000 from his former employer. He was embezzling funds from a street sweeping company in Sacramento. He used his position as, I believe, a chief financial officer to achieve this, using the company's credit card accounts to pay personal expenses. And also, he participated in another fraud scheme with the Maine Department of Labor, a similar COVID fund to support people, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. He stated he...
hey guys, talk to you. Sorry, I'm 10 minutes late.
Hey, Bob. Welcome, Bob. Hi.
Here, you can catch the tail end of his fraud story. This man has to pay restitution about $1 million to 3 different SBA-approved lenders, about $50,000 to the SBA, $800,000 to his former employer, and about $58,000 to the Maine Department of Labor.
Excellent. Bob, while we have both Bobs, let's go back to this amazing chart. We talked a little bit about it, Bob Judge, but the numbers are down close to 3% as a 6-month percentage change that we've been tracking, back down to around 115 from previous highs of around 120. So what's going on with the market?
Well, a couple things. One, prepays have returned to pre-COVID norms. So last month we got upwards of 18 CPR, so that quickly took a lot of the steam out of the secondary market, because with high prepays you really can't pay the kind of premiums that you could when the prepays were 5 or 6% back in the days of COVID. So basically it's come back to where it was. Even though it is a floating rate loan, which is beneficial, does help a bit from getting too crazy, like what you see with treasuries. But the bottom line is high prepays really can erode the return on loans repaying a premium.
And we also included 504s. The percentages are up about a full percentage for the rates. You get those from Ken. What can you talk about the 504 market real quick?
Well, 504 tends to be, like a 5-year fixed or even a total fixed rate. On the first lien side, obviously on the part that's issued by the SBA, that's totally fixed rate. So that's going to be very sensitive to interest rates. So rates are going to rise on on the second lien, the stuff the SBA issues, again with where treasuries are moving, because it does trade at a spread to treasuries. And of course, first liens, depending upon the structure, also will tend to be, have higher interest rates than than a pure floating rate. So you're definitely going to see a lot of sensitivity to interest rates with the debentures.
Where do you see us going forward with the 7A market? The rates, the price is going to go back up, or are we going to be here for a while?
I think we're going to be here for a while. We're not seeing any. We're seeing it's a very thin market. Seeing a lot of people, not a lot of bids for the product that are competitive. Mm. So, when you have such a thin market, it really has no reason to go any higher. Also, prepays, they're moving higher. Will they continue to move higher? We'll see. I mean, the belief is that when rates are rising, prepayment speeds rise on floating rate paper. So, people, and that's what's happened so far. So that's been correct to date. So we could still go higher. So I think people are just being very defensive, as you see with everything else in the world, stock market, crypto, bonds, everything is going down in that price. So people are very, antsy at the moment. So with a kind of a risk-off type of belief that the easiest thing to do is say, well, I'm just going to pay less than I paid yesterday.
Hey, Bob Coleman, I have to ask the question. So what's it going to look like? How will those premiums hold up through the rest of the year?
Well, a lot of it depends upon what goes on with the economy, with the Fed, if they continue, raising rates. So I would say right now it looks like that's going to go into next year. So I don't think, premiums are going to be moving higher anytime soon. Certainly right. Not for the rest of this year. So I think that, and historically, the rate, 115 in the long end and, 111 or 110.5 in the 10-year is not too bad. So historically, it's not terrible. We've seen definitely, much lower premiums in the past. So, so I think it's, you pretty much, you just got that COVID, extra premium has disappeared. Now we're back to, kind of where it was prior to that. And this is kind of where the market was hanging around, maybe a little bit higher. But, prepays is what dictates, where this stuff goes in the long run. And there's certainly no reason for prepays to go down at the moment.
Great, excellent. It's good to hear from you, and thank you for that update. And hopefully we can have you back on the show soon. Thanks, Bob.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you later, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Bob.
Delaney, we talked about our YouTube channel, and we did a push to subscribe and to get everyone that attends this show over. But basically, what we're doing is we're archiving our shows, and we're putting together some clips for our podcast, and make sure that you and your team subscribe to that. So we are done with the compensation reports. Those should go out later today, and you can order them. If you participated in the survey, you will get it with the description of your title. So look forward to that, and order those, because I know Lance is talking about compensation going up, and I know that's a hot topic with your lending departments. So we have a couple webinars coming up, closing pitfalls. That's next week, and then we're doing another one on compliance for collateral the week after. So tune into those. Send me an email if you want to join. Delaney, thank you very much. Congratulations again. I know you've had a big week and you're a college grad now. Welcome to the real world.
Thank you.
And that concludes today's Coleman Report Live. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you back on Monday. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Have a
Thanks a
great
lot.
weekend.